Chapter 82. Every disciple of the martial school had to complete a mission within a month, even the core disciples were no exception, unless they were approved by the higher-ups. Fortunately, both Yi Chen and Wu Zongming had completed more than one mission this month, so they did not have to worry about not having enough time. They would be fine even if they came back next month. The second day. At the foot of the mountain, the two of them rode on their dark brown horses and galloped towards the northwest direction. The journey to the Forgotten City was 28,000 miles long. On the way, they had to pass through 4 cities, 2 mountains, and a large plain. The cities were not dangerous, and they could replenish their rations and eat some food. However, the mountains and the plain were never safe places. There were countless demonic beasts, horse gangs and robbers, and there were countless dark martial artists. In the eyes of the bandits, the weaker martial artists were fat sheep, and there was nothing wrong with killing them. The sky was blue and clear, and there were a few white clouds floating in the sky. On the northwest plain, the cool wind carried a strong smell of blood. Hee, these horse gangs must have thought of us as fat sheep. Wu Zongming used a black cloth to wipe the blood off his long knife and grinned. Sitting on the horse, Yi Chen looked down at the dead bodies of the horse gangs on the ground. Among the dozens of horse gangs, 2/5 of them had been cut in half, and the rest of them had their heads blown off. They died a horrible death, and the blood and flesh stained the grass red. There were only 2 of us, and we were riding on dark brown horses. These horse gangs probably couldn't resist the temptation, and thought of us as chicks. You don't say. After knowing that we were the inner disciples of the Sky Cloud Martial School, one guy wanted to run away. It seems like the disciples of the big martial schools are really scary, and they can do whatever they want. However, the dark martial artists are not included in this. They really think of the disciples of the martial schools as fat sheep. Yi Chen nodded. The number of martial artists in the underworld was much less than that of bandits and horse bandits. However, every martial artist in the underworld was an abnormally valiant existence. They were able to fight against the disciples of the big sections. There were some lucky ones among them who had inherited the true teachings of their deceased seniors. In terms of martial skills, they were not at a disadvantage at all. In addition, they had been fighting all year round. Their killing intent could scare ordinary people to death. In terms of momentum, they were much stronger. Before, they had met a mid-condensing reality realm warrior in the outskirts of the Azure Mountain, who had knocked Wu Zongming off his horse with only 1 spear attack. If he had thrown out a second spear attack, Wu Zongming would have been dead for sure. Yi Chen would not let that happen, so he killed him with 1 punch. I've heard that the Forgotten City is the largest city in the northwest. It has a length and width of 50 miles, and there are more than 10 million people living there. I wonder what kind of scene it is, Wu Zongming said as he sat back on his horse and looked into the distance. Hearing him, Yi Chen thought of the world he came from. In the ancient times, a city that could accommodate hundreds of thousands of people was already considered not bad. It was nothing compared to the true spirit continent. From this point of view, it could be seen how vast the true spirit continent was. It was not something that could be imagined. Pulling the reins, the 2 of them squeezed the horse's abdomen with their legs and galloped forward. In the evening, the sun was setting. The sunset glow in the west and the great plain behind them contrasted with each other, creating a beautiful and spectacular scene. 2 teenagers riding on dark brown horses, one on the left and the other on the right, followed the surging crowd and arrived outside of a huge city. These 2 people were indeed Yi Chen and Wu Zongming. They had spent 1 day and 2 nights to finally cross the northwest plain and arrive at their destination, the Forgotten City. Behind the crowd, Yi Chen raised his head. The first thing he saw were the 3 golden characters on the city gate. Forgotten City, Hu. Letting out a heavy breath, although Yi Chen had mentally prepared himself, such a huge city still surprised him. It was at least 5 to 6 times bigger than the windy city near the Sky Cloud Martial School. The city gate was 33 meters tall, and the city wall was 66 meters tall. On top of the city wall, there were groups of fully armed soldiers patrolling back and forth with expressionless faces. Here we are. Wu Zongming looked a little tired. Yeah. Let's go in. Seeing that it was almost their turn, Yichen jumped off the horse. Leading the horse, the two of them walked to the city gate. There were 2 rows of armored soldiers standing in front of the city gate. Each of them looked very energetic with their temples bulging. Obviously, they were Mortal Realm Stage 5 or 6 warriors. The leader of the soldiers had even reached Mortal Realm Stage 10, not far from the condensing reality realm. 1 silver per person. If you want to sneak in, you will have to ask the blade in my hand first. The leader of the soldiers was not in charge of collecting the entrance fee, he was staring at the people entering the city. Wu Zongming curled his lips. 1 silver. So expensive. The Windy City only costs 50 copper. Yichen laughed. You still care about this small amount of money? Of course I don't care about this small amount of money, but it is a lot for the commoners. Forgotten City is the biggest city in the northwest. It is not a good thing to collect a small entrance fee. Everyone wants to go in, and it will be crowded to death. In this aspect, Yichen had more foresight than Wu Zongming. That's true. After paying the entrance fee, the 2 of them entered the city smoothly. The Forgotten City was indeed the biggest city in the northwest. As soon as they entered, they were completely shocked. In front of them was a street that was wide enough for dozens of horses to run side by side. The shops on both sides were extremely luxurious, as if they were built with gold. In the distance, there were many tall wooden buildings rising from the ground. Just like Luo City, the Forgotten City also had a tall tower located in the center of the city. It's really incredible. Yichen shook his head. If the Forgotten City was full of modern high-rise buildings, he would not be so surprised. After all, everything in front of him was built by human beings, without the assistance of any machines. Moreover, in terms of luxury, the Forgotten City could not compete with the modern cities. West of the city. Shilai Restaurant. In the private room named Chen. Yichen and Wu Zongming ordered a table of dishes and ate with relish. The business of this restaurant is so good. Except for the private rooms, the outside is full. But the food is not bad. It is 100 times better than dry food. I am going to get sick from eating so much. Warriors all had a large appetite. In just a short while, Wu Zongming had already eaten 3 servings of food. Outside the private room, the waiter came in with another plate of dishes. You too, this dragon and phoenix bringing prosperity is a gift from our restaurant. Please enjoy. There were 16 private rooms in the Shilai restaurant, which were named Sun, Moon, and Stars respectively. Each code had 4 private rooms, and only the private rooms had precious dishes as gifts. People outside had to pay for them. Yichen asked, "May I ask when the auction of the Northwest Auction House will start?" The waiter's heart trembled. Those who could participate in the auction were all rich. These 2 must be the young masters of some big family with extraordinary backgrounds. He immediately said enthusiastically, 2 masters, the auction of the Northwest Auction House will start in 2 days. You can stay in the Shilai restaurant. So there are still 2 days. Then wait. This is a tip for you. Yichen threw a piece of silver to the waiter. It was worth 10 taels. Thank you 2 masters. If there is nothing else, I will take my leave first. Go do your thing. Not long after the waiter left, an angry voice came from outside the private room. What, all the private rooms are full? Are you kidding me? Do I, Tang Manlu, have to sit and eat with those lowly people? Master Tang, all the private rooms are full. Why don't you wait a little longer? I think some of the masters should have finished eating already. The waiter was terrified. I will give you 10 minutes to clear out a private room. Otherwise, I will hold you responsible. Chapter 83. The waiter did not know what to do. Those who could enter the private rooms were all influential people, and they could not be messed with easily. However, this Tang Manlu in front of him was not an ordinary person either. He was one of the top 8 warriors of the Forgotten City, and his family was only second to the top 8 families. Please wait, I will ask the manager. The waiter did not dare to make the decision, so he ran downstairs. On the ground, the well-dressed young man sneered and said to the beautiful lady next to him, I heard that there are many treasures in this auction. I am afraid a lot of people have heard about it. The beautiful lady said, my Purple Sun Martial School's second disciple, Yang Ming, will be here. Oh, Yang Ming is here too. Tang Manlu's expression changed slightly. Yang Ming, who had the title of Little Godly Legs, was also one of the top 8 warriors. However, he was the leader of the 8 warriors, and his power was immeasurable. He was ranked second among the young generation of the Windy Nation. Indeed. Other than that, the North Snow Quick Blade Lynch from the North Snow Martial Academy will be here as well. I heard that he is here for a great blade. Tang Manlu did not have the arrogant aura that he had before. Compared to the 2 people mentioned by the young man, he was nothing. Soon, the manager who was over 60 years old hurriedly ran over. Io, isn't this Master Tang? What brings you here? Tang Manlu said impatiently, Manager you, hurry up and prepare a private room for me. You will get the money. Don't tell me you don't have it. That is easy, leave it to me. Then it will be easy. Pulling the waiter aside, the manager said in a low voice, Li Lin, who are the people in the 16 private rooms? Tell me. The waiter nodded and bowed. The first private room is for the mayor's son, the second one is for the leader of the Luo family, and the third one, do you have a brain? Who told you to call out the owner of the Sun VIP room? They are all important people and you can't touch them. Call them out from the Star VIP room. The manager slapped the waiter's head and berated him. Yes, yes. The waiter wiped the sweat off his forehead and said, the one in the Star room is a middle-aged man. He is very powerful, he should be a clasping Yuan realm warrior. The one in the Star room is. The one in the Qin room is 2 teenagers. I heard that they are here for the auction. The shopkeeper was silent. It sounded like everyone was of high status, but the Shilai restaurant was located in the Forgotten City. Naturally, they had to satisfy the local bigwigs first. Even if the 2 youngsters with the number 4, Chen, were from a big family, it would not affect their business. Moreover, Tang Manlu's Tang family was there to support them. Go and invite the guest of Chen number 4 out. Let them go to the restaurant a few streets away. As for the previous dishes and wine, give them free of charge. After careful consideration, the manager gave the order. The waiter hesitated. But what? Hurry up. Do you want me to fire you? Don't forget that there are many people who want to be waiters in the Shilai restaurant. They are waiting in line. I'll go. Please don't fire me. The waiter hurriedly ran to the 4th private room with the character Chen. Pushing open the door of the room, the waiter rubbed his hands and said in a low voice, Masters, I hope you can give this room to the guests outside. The dishes and wine that you have eaten before are all free of charge. Wu Zongming was eating fish. Hearing this, he stared at the waiter and said, We are not guests. As for the dishes and wine, what a joke. Yi Chen, can't we afford it? Yi Chen sneered, there are so many restaurants in the Forgotten City. They will find a place to eat. The shopkeeper said that you should. The waiter knew that he had said something wrong and hurriedly covered his mouth. Shopkeeper. Yi Chen raised his eyebrows and his eyes lit up. Being scared by Yi Chen's eyes, the waiter stammered and couldn't say a word. He had already cursed Tang Manlu in his heart. Why did he come at such a time and make things difficult for me? I can quit. No, the Shilai restaurant pays me well. I can't quit. Outside the room. Tang Manlu was getting impatient and scolded, Shopkeeper, is it not done yet? Almost done, I will go and have a look. They hurriedly came to the number 4 private room, and the innkeeper ordered them to leave. Sirs, I'm really sorry, but this private room has already been reserved. You should go to another restaurant. Bang! Wu Zongming smashed his chopsticks on the table. Are you bullying us because we are foreigners? I will be sitting here today. Who dares to kick us out? The shopkeeper braced himself. I advise you to go somewhere else. You can't afford to offend the masters outside. Who is it that we can't afford to offend? Let him come in and show us. Well, you two should leave. Since he had already done this, the shopkeeper did not expect to be safe. He could only offend one of them. How dare you? Wu Zongming roared. At this moment, the door opened again. Tang Manlu and the beautiful lady walked in. They were already impatient and were ready to kick them out. Tang Manlu glanced at them and saw that one of them was at the early condensing reality realm and the other was at the mid condensing reality realm. He said disdainfully, you two, please. Don't embarrass yourselves. Yichen also looked at him and said, you don't have the ability to do that. Tang Manlu sneered, don't talk big. The Forgotten City is not like other places. Don't think that just because you are the king of your own territory, you can do whatever you want here. I, Tang Manlu, will make my words clear. No matter if you are a dragon or a tiger, you will have to bow down to me. Otherwise, don't say I didn't warn you. Oh, Tang Manlu, I have never heard of this name. I would like to see how you are going to make me bow down to you. Standing up, Yichen stared at him. It seemed like he was going to fight if there was any disagreement. The beautiful lady shook her head. This person was too arrogant. It seemed like he had never been bullied at home. He was just going against Tang Manlu. He was going to suffer a bit later. The shopkeeper saw that the situation was not good. If these people started fighting, it would ruin the reputation of the restaurant. He immediately said to Yi Chen, Sir, Master Tang Manlu is one of the 8 heroes of our happy city. The Tang family is also one of the top families in the city. They are not people you can mess with. Listen to my advice and leave immediately. Otherwise, it would be a small matter if you get hurt, but losing face is a big matter. Wu Zongming laughed out loud. Tang Manlu had already activated his Jin Qi and said coldly, what are you laughing at? Trying to compare your family background with Yichen? You really don't know what's good for you. Even my Wu family does not dare to compare with Yichen's family. The manager heard something wrong. I wonder which family this young master is from. Wu Zongming said loudly, listen carefully. My companion is the son of the leader of the Yi family, one of the top 8 families. He is also a genius of our Sky Cloud Martial School. He is one of the top figures in the entire Windy Nation. The Tang family is not worth mentioning. This young master is the son of the leader of the Yi family. The manager felt a little dizzy. He had really poked a hornet's nest. As one of the top 8 families, the Yi family also had a stronghold in the Forgotten City. They were very powerful, and the Western Arrival restaurant could not mess with them. He did not expect that he would actually ask the other party to leave. Wasn't he looking for death? If the Yi family heard this news, they would definitely not let it go. After all, as one of the top forces, their reputation was the most important. Being slapped in the face was like touching a tiger's butt. For a moment, the manager was frightened and did not dare to speak. Chapter 84. Tang Manlu and the pretty girl were shocked as well. Although the top 8 families were not as powerful as the top 5 martial institutions, their influence in the whole Windy Nation was not something that their families could compare with. As for the martial institutions, it did not mean much. Nowadays, anyone with a little bit of talent would be able to join a martial institution. No one could use the power of a martial institution to scare the others, unless you were the son or daughter of the leader. The pretty girl remained silent, as if she had nothing to do with it. Hee hee, one of the top 8 families, the Yi family is indeed powerful, but that's all you can do. Relying on your family's power, without the protection of your family, you are nothing. Tang Manlu calmed himself down. He did not want to lose face in front of the shopkeeper and the pretty girl, so he said lightly. Wu Zongming said with disdain, you are also relying on the Tang family. I think, without the Tang family's support, you would not be one of the top 8 warriors of the Forgotten City. You are looking for death. Tang Manlu's eyes were filled with anger. Slowly walking in front of Wu Zongming, Yi Chen lifted his eyelids and said, words are useless. Let's exchange a punch. Whoever takes one step back will have to get the hell out of the number 4 private room. How about that? Are you serious? Hearing Yi Chen, Tang Manlu was shocked at first, but then a smile appeared on his face. He was still in a dilemma. He didn't know if he should advance or retreat, but he didn't expect Yi Chen to be even more arrogant and ignorant than he had imagined. Yi Chen actually dared to challenge a late condensing reality realm warrior. He was just asking for trouble. Although he was not a core disciple of the Emerald Martial Palace, he was still one of the most powerful inner disciples. How could he be afraid of a mid-condensing reality realm warrior? Of course. Yi Chen had never exchanged blows with a late condensing reality realm warrior before. This was the perfect opportunity for him to see how powerful he was. As for losing, he did not even think about it. When he was at the early condensing reality realm, he could already beat Wang Kunyang, who was at the peak of the mid-condensing reality realm, with only one punch. After reaching the mid-condensing reality realm, his power had increased a lot. Even if his opponent was a core disciple, he would not be able to avoid this punch. Tang Manlu turned his head and said to the shopkeeper and the pretty girl, that's great, shopkeeper Li Ling, you two can be our witnesses. I am afraid that someone will not admit it. The shopkeeper smiled at Yi Chen, but did not say anything. Sure. The pretty girl, Li Ling, nodded in agreement. However, it was obvious that she did not think highly of Yi Chen. She thought that he was blindly confident and could not see the truth. Enough nonsense, let's begin. He took a step forward, and his right fist suddenly burst out a bright blue light. It pierced through the air with a tiger roar, leaving a dragon-shaped chi flow behind. The two fists clashed together. The next second, including Li Ling, everyone's eyes could not see anything. Only the white light and the blue light intertwined together, filling up the huge private room. Boom! A thunderous sound was heard. The walls of the private room cracked, the floor cracked, the tables and chairs were shattered, and a series of cracking noises were heard. It seemed like someone was pushed back and crashed into something behind him. After a few blinks of the eye, the blue light and the white light disappeared. When they saw the situation in the private room, they all had their eyes wide open. They could not believe what they saw. Tang Manlu lost. Li Ling took a deep breath. Inside the damaged private room, Yi Chen stood there unmoving like a mountain. The clothes on his right arm were slightly torn, and his eyes moved to the opposite side. There was a human figure leaning against the wall, and the huge power had even caused the wall to collapse. Bright red blood flowed down from his right arm and mouth, and his face was pale and bloodless. This person was none other than Tang Manlu. Get the fuck out! Yi Chen's voice was heard. He was not too excited about beating Tang Manlu with only one punch, since he had 15,000 pounds of physical strength. His tiger roar, dragon fist had been trained to the peak. It had already evolved into the most powerful attack. If he still could not beat Tang Manlu back, then it would be a problem. Not to mention, Tang Manlu was not that much stronger than Wang Kunyang, who also had 10,000 pounds of physical strength. Good, very good, I will not let today's incident go so easily. Tang Manlu was not seriously injured. After all, he was a late condensing reality realm warrior. His protective Jin Qi was very strong. However, the shame in his heart was driving him crazy. He could not wait to cut Yi Chen into 1,000 pieces. Standing up, Tang Manlu walked out of the private room in embarrassment. He did not even call Li Ling. Chapter 85. Li Ling took a deep look at Yi Chen and walked out of the room, leaving the restless manager Yu behind. Since he had made a mistake, he had to make up for it himself. With a face full of remorse, Manager Yu said, "Master Yi, I was blinded by a ghost and did something that offended you. Please don't take it to heart, Master Yi. From now on, there will always be an empty private room in Shilai restaurant, waiting for your arrival." Yi Chen did not plan to blame the shopkeeper, since it was not easy for him to do anything. Everything he did had to be done according to other people's wishes, and if he was not careful, he might offend someone. Before this, if he did not kick Yi Chen and Wu Zongming out, he would offend Tang Manlu. "Don't worry, I won't cause you any trouble. It's just that we haven't finished our meal. Find us a place, even outside, but don't chase us away," Yi Chen said lightly. Yes, I will do it for you right away." Manager Yu was so grateful that he bowed and retreated. After Manager Yu left, Wu Zongming looked at the broken Chen room and shook his head. He said firmly, "This time, no matter what price I have to pay, I must get a Jin restoration pill." Yi Chen said, "Although there will be some side effects, as long as you can control it, it won't be a big problem." To a warrior, cultivation was a way to go against the natural order. As long as one's heart was not corrupted, there was no need to worry. Soon, Manager Yu arranged a place for the two of them in the hall on the second floor and personally served them food and wine. He was very enthusiastic. 2 days passed in the blink of an eye. The third day. Early morning. Light rain fell from the gloomy sky, sprinkling evenly on the ground of the forgotten city. In the north of the central part of the forgotten city, there was a magnificent building. It was stable and 30 meters tall. There was a huge board hanging above the door, with 5 majestic golden words carved on it, Northwest Auction House. Looking down from the sky, there were dozens of people around the huge Northwest Auction House, rushing towards the auction house along the streets or alleys. Among them, there were rich and powerful people sitting in palanquins, noble women raising low-level demonic beast pets, and young elites riding fine horses. Of course, there were even more unfamiliar martial artists, which made up 70% of the total number of people. Outside the gate, Yi Chen looked at the words on the board and walked in side by side with Wu Zongming. "You two are..." The receptionist outside the door could tell that the young man was extraordinary at first glance, so she hurriedly came over to ask. After all, a person of noble status could not sit in the ordinary seats like the others. Wu Zongming said, "This is a direct descendant of the Yi clan, Yi Chen. I am a descendant of the Wu clan. The Yi family, one of the 8 great families. This way, please. I'll take you to a private room." The receptionist secretly rejoiced. As a receptionist, she must have good eyesight. Although she did not know some people, she could tell a thing or two from their temperament. She must not treat them as ordinary people and neglect them. The young man in front of her was actually a direct descendant of the Yi clan, so he was definitely of noble status. Although there were many Wu clans mentioned, to be able to walk together with a direct descendant of the Yi clan, it must be the most powerful Wu clan. Walking in front, the receptionist in a thin silk dress twisted her waist. She was already thinking about how generous the reward would be when the higher-ups knew about this. The auction house was very big, even more magnificent than the auction house in Yi Chen's world. The surrounding walls were inlaid with many gold and crystal stones, forming a beautiful pattern. It did not look vulgar at all, but instead gave people a sense of joy. The private room for the two was directly opposite the stone auction stage to the left. The private room was not big, and there were not many things inside. There were only a few beast leather chairs and a red sandalwood table filled with snacks and fruits. There were some landscape paintings on the wall. "If you need any service, you can tell me. I'll be right outside." She was not the only receptionist. Each of them was in charge of a private room. Yi Chen said, "Okay." The receptionist walked out and closed the door. Wu Zongming sat down on the beast leather chair. It was soft and had a nice fragrance. Private rooms are great. There are even beast leather chairs to sit on. Yichen sat on the leather chair next to Wu Zongming and laughed. That's all? You are the second young master of the Wu clan after all. Don't mention it. The inheritance of the Wu clan will not be mine. I don't care anyway. I'll just be an outer elder in the Sky Cloud Martial School. Wu Zongming put a grape in his mouth and said. Yichen shook his head and did not say anything. His goal was simple. He wanted to become stronger and explore the mysteries of the world. In the third private room, there were 5 young people sitting there. The one on the left was Tang Manlu, who had been defeated by Yichen last night. Sitting next to him was the pretty girl, Li Ling. The one sitting in the middle was a young man wearing a purple and gold robe. He was about 17 or 18 years old. His eyebrows were very thick and sharp like blades. His eyes were shining brightly like 2 shiny black gems. His legs were very long, about 3 to 4 inches longer than a normal person's. As he sat there, boundless pressure filled the entire private room. It was obvious that he was the leader of the 5. The 2 people on the right of the young man were wearing the same purple robe as Li Ling. They did not have any gold robes. They had a powerful aura, which was no weaker than Tang Manlu's. Tang Manlu, I haven't seen you for half a year. Your cultivation has improved a lot. The young man caressed the storage ring on his finger and said casually. Tang Manlu had a complicated look on his face. He said, not as good as you, O Yang Ming. You have the title of Little Godly Legs. I don't know how many people have been killed by your legs. Of course. In the whole Windy Nation, except for the young Master Emerald who has already reached the clasping Yuan realm, our brother Ouyang is one of the most powerful martial artists. One of the 2 people on the right said. Of course, of course. But I heard that this time, the 3rd disciple of the North Snow Martial Academy, North Snow Fast Blade, Lynch will also come. I am afraid that he is also here for that great blade. Sitting with the young man, Tang Manlu always felt inferior. He could not help but use the name Lynch to pressure the young man. Ouyang Ming sneered, North Snow Fast Blade, Lynch. I will fight him sooner or later. Let's see which is more powerful, his blade or mine. Although his title was Little Godly Legs, his blade art was also very powerful. It was not weaker than his leg art. However, there were too many people who used blades, especially in the North Snow Martial Academy. That was why he was called Little Godly Legs. Right at that moment, a human figure suddenly appeared on the crystal glass in front of them. The human figure was wearing a snow-white robe. He was tall and skinny. He seemed to be walking very slowly, but the waitress behind him could not keep up with him. She almost fell down. She looked like she had seen a ghost. Judging from his temperament, the human figure was very impressive. However, when people looked at his face, they were very disappointed. Because he had a very ordinary face, so ordinary that they would not be able to find him in a crowd. Lynch. Ouyang Ming's eyes flashed like lightning in the air. He slightly lowered his center of gravity, which made the sturdy leather chair creak. As if he had sensed Ouyang Ming's gaze, the human figure turned his head and looked into Ouyang Ming's eyes. The waitress was very confused. The crystal glass could only show the outside from the inside, but not from the outside. Why did this disciple of the North Snow Martial Academy look like he was looking at a person? Chapter 86. In the private room, Tang Manlu didn't look Lin Qi in the eye, but Lin Qi's gaze made him jump in fright. He had the illusion of being cut by a knife. It was as if Lin Qi's gaze was a knife light that could cut through illusions and hurt people's souls. It had an inconceivable power. In the void, Ouyang Ming and Lin Qi's eyes had already clashed. Countless electric sparks were produced, and they refused to give in to each other. After a few blinks of an eye, both of them looked away. North Snow Quick Blade. Ouyang Ming sneered, his face did not look so good. Although Lynch was not as powerful as young Master North Snow, his gaze was more powerful. Just now, it seemed like they were evenly matched, but in fact, Yang Ming was already at a disadvantage. No wonder the leader of the North Snow Martial Academy, Shui Wuren, thought that Yang Ming would be the most likely person to comprehend the blade intent. However, as long as he did not comprehend the blade intent, Yang Ming was confident that he would be able to compete with him. Outside the private room, Lynch expressionlessly walked forward and stopped in front of the private room next to Yi Chen's. Yi Chen suddenly frowned, he seemed to feel a blade aura approaching him. Yi Chen, what's wrong? Wu Zongming asked. Yi Chen shook his head, nothing, the auction is about to start. Yeah, most of the people have arrived. Oh right, how much money did you bring? 180,000 gold. You didn't ask your family for money? 180,000 gold was a huge amount of money for normal people, but it was normal for them. This time, for the Jin pellet and some other treasures, Wu Zongming had collected 300,000 gold. Yi Chen's family was much bigger than the Wu family. If he really wanted to collect, it would definitely be more than this amount. Yi Chen laughed, that's enough. I'm just going to take a look, maybe I won't buy anything. 180,000 gold was the Bloody Butcher's entire wealth and the money he had earned from his recent missions. It was already quite a lot. If there was something he was interested in, he still had 10,000 low-rank soul stones in his storage ring. If each one was worth 2,000 silver, then 10,000 low-rank soul stones would be worth more than 20 million silver, or 2 million gold. It was even more than the total assets of some small families. Hee, when the time comes, you will regret bringing too little silver. Wu Zongming grinned. Yi Chen's mind was not completely focused on the conversation with Wu Zongming. His powerful soul force penetrated through the wall and searched the room next door. There was only a young man sitting in the private room. His appearance was ordinary, and he was dressed in a white robe. His slim body was straight, and his profound qi was not emitted from his body. Instead, it was pulled inwards, as if he was trying to concentrate his qi. Peak of late condensing reality realm, this guy should be North Snow Fast Blade Lynch. Yi Chen did not think of young Master North Snow, because young Master North Snow was said to be very handsome, and always had a smile on his face. Plus, he was very handsome, and was the dream of all the female disciples in the Sky Cloud Martial School. Lynch didn't know anything about soul power exploration, but the strange feeling still made him vigilant. He tilted his head and looked at the flat wall. Did you notice it? No, I didn't. Yi Chen noticed that the other party's gaze was scattered and did not notice him. Of course, there was no point in continuing to explore, so Yi Chen withdrew his soul power. Lynch felt that the strange feeling disappeared. He was a bit confused, but he didn't think too much about it, because the auction had begun. Behind the stone auction stage, an old man in a yellow robe walked up. He clapped his hands, and all the crystals above the auction house suddenly lit up. The soft light illuminated every corner of the auction house. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Northwest Auction House. I am the intermediate auctioneer here, Qian Zongchao. I think a lot of you already know me. For those of you who don't know me, you don't have to remember my name, because the next time you come, I might be the host of the auction again. Before the auction, I still have to say, if you have any precious items that you want to auction, you can entrust them to our auction house. Items are divided into 4 ranks according to their value. Low-rank treasures will only take 10% of the auction fees, mid-rank treasures will take 5%, high-rank treasures will be auctioned for free, and as for the extreme-rank treasures, we will even pay you the money. Once he said this, the people below started discussing. Are you kidding me? If there are high-rank and extreme-rank treasures, who would take them out to auction? You must be out of your mind. That's right. A low-rank treasure is enough to make people fight for it, and mid-rank treasures can make clasping Yuan Realm and Astral Reaching Realm warriors go crazy for it. Top-rank treasures are even worse, not to mention extreme-rank treasures. Yi Chen was also speechless. The ranking of the auction items was the same as the storage rings, which were divided into 4 ranks. A low-rank storage ring was equivalent to a low-rank treasure, and a mid-rank storage ring was equivalent to a mid-rank treasure. As for top-rank and extreme-rank treasures, he dared not even imagine what it would be. The elder in yellow revealed a smile. He did not say these words casually, but to stir up the people's emotions. Once people got excited, they would do things that were hard to understand, which was exactly what the auction house wanted. All right, I will not waste your time anymore. The auction will officially begin. Let the first item come up. As the elder's voice faded, a beautiful lady walked up from the back. She was holding a golden-laid wooden plate, which was covered with a bright yellow silk cloth. The golden-laid wooden plate was placed on the stage, and the elder in yellow lifted up the silk cloth. All of a sudden, a blue manual appeared in front of everyone's eyes. The first item is a martial skill manual, called the Green Yuan Palm, a top-rank mortal realm martial art. It is a unique martial art from the rank 8 martial institution, the Green Yuan Martial School, from hundreds of years ago. When trained to the extreme, the palm power can even shatter a great sword into pieces. It is extremely powerful. It is even more powerful than many top-rank mortal realm martial arts. The starting price is 20,000 gold, and each increment must be no less than 1,000 gold. Hearing the elder in yellow's introduction, the audience was shocked. Some of the warriors who did not join any martial institution were envious. They were not like the martial disciples, who could learn top-rank mortal realm martial arts after being promoted to inner disciples. They did not need to worry about it at all. Most of them had only learned top-rank mortal realm martial arts, and some of them had only learned mid-rank mortal realm martial arts, which was quite shabby. Damn, let's do it. If we can learn a top-rank mortal realm martial art, we will be able to make a name for ourselves in the martial world. Those martial disciples will not compete with us, so we will have a better chance of getting the manual. We have to get it. Through the crystal glass, Yi Chen saw the changes in the crowd and shook his head. Compared to the martial disciples, these warriors did not have it easy. All they learned were trash, and the martial disciples would not even look at them once. However, according to the introduction, the Green Yuan Palm seemed to be very powerful, and it might even be as powerful as the Tiger Roar Dragon Fist. No wonder so many people wanted to come to the Northwest Auction House. 22,000 gold. Someone could not help but start to bid. After the first bid, the whole auction house became chaotic, and people kept calling out bids. 23,000. 25,000. Fuck, 28,000 gold. A ferocious-looking warrior stood up. I will bid 30,000, who dares to compete with me? 30,000 is nothing, 35,000. Yi Chen was shocked. No way, a top-rank mortal realm martial art can be sold for 35,000 gold, then what about my 180,000 gold? Chapter 87. 40,000. The ferocious-looking warrior directly added 5,000 gold. It was obvious that he was determined to get this Qing Yuan Palm manual. Damn it, I only have 38,000 gold, I still need 2,000 gold. Whoever wants to lend me, I will pay you back double in the future. Someone tried to borrow money from the warrior next to him. We don't care about 2,000 gold, but what if we run into some good stuff and don't have enough gold? So sorry, we can't do that. You are right, the small auction only happens once every half a year. If we miss this one, we will have to wait for another half a year. How can we borrow money? At this moment, no warrior wanted to borrow money. After all, they only had around 50,000 gold. If they were short of 1,000 gold, they would lose a lot of confidence. It was not wise to lend money to others. In the end, the Qing Yuan Palm manual fell into the hands of the ferocious-looking warrior for 40,000 gold. The second item, 3 groups of low-rank soul stones, 100 in each group. They will be auctioned separately. The starting price for each group is 20,000 gold, and each increment must be no less than 1,000 gold. Start. The elder in yellow robes lifted the silk cloth and announced loudly as the golden-laid wooden plate was placed on the stage. What? Low-rank soul stones. I haven't used low-rank soul stones for a long time. This time, I have to get a set. With low-rank soul stones, I might be able to reach the late condensing reality realm in a short time. It is priceless. 100 low-rank soul stones are enough for me to use for more than a year. Off the stage, all the warriors who didn't belong to any martial schools went crazy. They all breathed heavily, their eyes were bloodshot as they stared at the low-rank soul stones on the stage. They just wanted to go up there and snatch them away. 22,000 gold. 25,000 gold. 28,000 gold. 30,000 gold. The price of the first group of low-rank soul stones rose sharply. The elder in yellow robes stood on the stage with a smile on his face. The higher the price of the item, the more stable his position would be, and the higher his salary would be. Soon, the first group of low-rank soul stones was bought by an extremely ugly warrior for 35,000 gold. The bidding for the second group of low-rank soul stones began. Perhaps it was because there was one less group, but some of the cultivators who had been watching from the sidelines couldn't help but join in the bidding. This caused the price of the second group of low-grade spirit stones to quickly surpass the first group. It reached 38,000 gold taels and was won by a middle-aged cultivator. When it was the third group's turn, the scene was completely heated up. Those cultivators who didn't manage to get the low-grade spirit stones earlier desperately put in all their belongings, vowing to win the last group of low-grade spirit stones. In the private room, Yi Chen was also shocked. He thought that a low-rank soul stone would be worth 250 gold, but he never thought that it would be worth nearly 400 gold. Didn't that mean that the 10,000 low-rank soul stones in his storage ring were worth 4 million gold? 40,000 gold going once, 40,000 gold going twice, 40,000 gold going thrice. Sold, congratulations to this martial artist. The elder in yellow let out a sigh of relief after the third group of low-rank soul stones had been sold. It seemed that low-rank soul stones were in high demand. Unfortunately, the lowest price of the auction in the Northwest Auction House was 20,000 gold. Otherwise, they could be separated into groups of 10. In this way, those warriors who didn't have enough wealth would definitely try their best to fight for them, even if it was 500 gold per piece. After all three groups of low-rank soul stones had been delivered to the buyers, the elder in yellow cleared his throat and said with a loud voice, "Next is the third item, the ancient half of a sword." Shoo! The silk cloth was lifted up, revealing the upper half of the sword in front of everyone. Perhaps it was because it was too old and broken, the sword still looked dim under the crystal light. Damn! What the hell is this? What is this thing? Half of a sword, even if it was originally a mid-rank treasure, it would not be valuable anymore. Who would want to bid for it? Look! Maybe there is something hidden in it. No one could tell what was going on. Their eyes landed on the elder in yellow, wanting to hear his explanation. The elder in yellow was prepared for this. He reached out his hand and picked up the sword and said, "According to the appraisal experts of our auction house, this half of the sword is 500 years old. In other words, this is an antique with 500 years of history. In addition, 500 years ago, it might have been a top-rank great sword, but for some unknown reason, it was broken by someone and lost its spirit. A 500 years old antique, a top-rank great sword. What a pity. If it was still in good condition, some of the people from the Windy Nation and even the South Rudra region would definitely come to fight for it. A broken top-rank great sword with no spirit. Why would they want to buy it? Maybe some antique collectors would go and bid for it. Anyway, it has nothing to do with us. Yeah, let's just watch from the sidelines. Let's see what this broken thing is like." Hearing the comments from the audience, the elder in yellow smiled bitterly. This half of the sword indeed did not have any practical use. It only had 500 years of history left. Chapter 88. 30,000 taels of gold, someone is raising the price again. What are you waiting for? The yellow-clothed old man's voice was even louder. The price of 30,000 taels of gold had already reached his estimation. Even if no one continued to raise the price, he was already satisfied. The old collector raised his board, 31,000 taels. 32,000 taels. Yichen also raised the price. Ouyang Ming disdainfully smiled, 40,000 taels. I won't raise the price. Although this thing is to my liking, it is not worth this price. It is better to buy other antiques. The old collector gave up on raising the price. You should have given up a long time ago. Isn't it just half a sword? Why spend tens of thousands of taels of gold? The warrior beside him laughed. What do you know? As long as it is an antique, there is a research value. Okay, I don't know, but you do. In the private room, Yichen frowned and raised the price to 41,000 taels. Wu Zongming was confused. Yichen, what's wrong with you? There are still many treasures after this. There is no need to waste money on this broken thing. Do you really think you can find something from it? Without its spirituality, this half of the sword is about the same value as a normal treasure sword. Yichen said, since we are here to participate in the auction, we have to buy something back. Hee, I can't do anything to you. Wu Zongming shook his head. 50,000 taels. Ouyang Ming raised his board. This amount of gold was nothing to him. He had been an inner disciple for many years and had completed hundreds of missions. His accumulated wealth had reached a terrifying level. Even some of the middle-class families might not be as rich as him. A mere 50,000 taels of gold was nothing to him. The yellow-clothed old man's heart almost jumped out of his chest. This was too inconceivable. The half of the sword that he thought no one was interested in was actually sold for 50,000 taels of gold. It was far beyond his estimation. Moreover, it seemed that the other side did not plan to give up. Below the stage, everyone also felt that it was very strange, but they were not very surprised. Every time there was an auction, there would always be some dark horse. Some worthless things would be auctioned for a very high price, while some valuable treasures could not be sold. Another two rich people who have nowhere to go, someone said enviously. 80% of them are sect disciples. These people are really rich. Sigh, it's a pity that we're not talented enough. Otherwise, we would have entered the sect long ago. Now, we could at least become outer sect elders. How impressive. That's enough. They're raising the price again. 55,000 taels. Yichen added another 5,000 taels. 60,000. 65,000. 70,000. 80,000. 90,000. Yichen's expression was very ugly. He had originally thought that no one would bid for the half-sword until now. Who would have thought that things would go against his wishes? Instead, the price had risen all the way to 90,000. He really didn't know if that person was deliberately trying to join in on the fun, or if he really wanted to buy it. Raising his sign, Yichen bid, 100,000 taels. Suck! Everyone on the scene gasped. 100,000 taels of gold was not a small amount. Many mid-condensing reality realm warriors would not be able to earn this amount even after 10 years of hard work. After all, warriors spent a lot of money, and they would never try to save money when it came to buying pellets. Although 100,000 taels of gold is not a big deal, there is no need for me to continue bidding. It's not like I have much use for it anyway. I'll just keep it as a collection. Plus, I've tricked that person, I think that person would feel bad about it. Ouyang Ming sat on the demonic beast leather chair with a faint smile on his face as he teased. A disciple of the Purple Sun Martial School said flatteringly, if we knew who that person was, we would definitely ask him to treat us. Brother Ouyang has already given him a lot of face. Yeah, when the auction is over, Let's go and see who that person is. Yang Ming said, you guys, don't be so quick to jump to conclusions. I don't want him to treat us. Just ask him to lend me the half-sword for a few days. Hearing Yang Ming, Li Ling bitterly smiled. She thought to herself, that person better not go against second brother. Otherwise, he will suffer a lot. In the whole Windy Nation, there were not many people who could go against second brother. 100,000 taels going once, 100,000 taels going twice, 100,000 taels going thrice, sold. Congratulations to the VIP in room number 7, this half-sword will be delivered to you immediately. The elder in yellow was so happy that he looked like he had just picked up 100,000 taels of gold. Soon, the pretty girl walked in with the half-sword in her hands. TSK, even this piece of junk is worth 100,000 taels of gold. Wu Zongming only took a glance at it, then lost interest. Yichen handed the pretty girl 10 gold notes worth 10,000 taels of gold each, then took the half-sword from her and threw it into his storage ring. Yichen scanned the sword with his soul power. He thought to himself, these two are indeed one, but there is still a small part missing. I wonder if I can gather them all. Yichen could vaguely hear a loud laughter coming out of the half-sword. It was so ancient that it left a deep impression on him. He knew that there must be something special about it, otherwise, he would not have spent 100,000 taels of gold to buy it. The fourth item is 3 Jinjin pellets. I think everyone knows what they can do. That's right, they can increase a condensing reality realm warrior's cultivation by 50%, and the side effects are very small. Besides that, you can take this pellet 3 times in a row. The first time is 50% chance, the second time is 30% chance, and the third time is 10% chance. Whoever can buy 3 of these pellets will definitely be able to increase his or her cultivation by 1 level, unless he or she is very unlucky. After the previous surprise, the real hot item officially appeared on the stage. It was the Jinjin pellet that Wu Zongming had been dreaming of. There were 3 of them in total, and each of them was priceless, especially for those warriors with low talent. The 3 pellets will be auctioned separately. The starting price will be 30,000 taels of gold, and each bid must be at least 2,000 taels of gold. Wu Zongming could not wait any longer. He raised his sign and said, 50,000 taels of gold. Buzz! Everyone in the auction house was confused by this price. Who is this guy? Why did he bid such a high price at the beginning? Is he trying to kill us all? Some of the warriors who were not rich enough were gritting their teeth, but they could not do anything about it. They were not as rich as him, otherwise, they could have just bid 1,000,000 taels of gold, and see who would dare to compete. 55,000 taels. After a moment of silence, someone started to bid. Wu Zongming grinned, 70,000 taels, 80,000 taels. A martial disciple started to bid 100,000 taels. Wu Zongming continued to bid 120,000 taels. 150,000 taels. In the end, the first Jinjin pellet fell into Wu Zongming's hands, which shocked everyone. Martial disciples were indeed martial disciples, they were all extremely rich. The starting price of the pellet was 30,000 taels of gold, but it was raised to 150,000 taels of gold, which made them feel completely hopeless. The second pellet was not as popular. It was bought by someone who looked like a martial disciple for 130,000 taels of gold. The third pellet was raised again. It reached 160,000 taels of gold. It was also bought by a martial disciple. The elder in yellow was very satisfied with this result. He cleared his throat and said, next up is the most important item, a low-rank Earth Realm Martial Skill Manual. What? A low-rank Earth Realm martial skill? Are you kidding me? Including the guests in the private room, everyone was shocked. Chapter 89. Don't be surprised, the 5th item is indeed a low-rank Earth Realm Martial Skill Manual. The seller is a clasping Yuan Realm martial artist, who is quite famous in the northern part of the Windy Nation. But of course, we can't reveal his name, as it violates the rules of the auction house. Let's cut to the chase. This low-rank Earth Realm martial skill is a leg martial skill, called the Killing Tyrant Kick. If you master this martial skill, you will be able to stop the flow of a river with a single kick, and if you master this martial skill, you will be able to shatter a 100-meter-tall mountain with a single kick. It is said that when you master this martial skill, the air will no longer be an obstacle, and your speed will reach an unimaginable level. You will be able to cover 100 meters with a single step. The old man in yellow didn't want to keep people in suspense, he explained everything in one breath. Boom! The auction house was boiling. The VIP guests in the private rooms who had been indifferent all this time started to breathe faster. Stopping the flow of a river, shattering a mountain, covering 100 meters with a single step, it was already very rare to have one of these three skills, let alone combining them into one. A low-rank Earth Realm martial skill was indeed incomparable to a top-rank Mortal Realm martial skill, it had reached a whole new level. Yichen didn't care too much about the first two skills, because the Tyrant Fist could also do the same. But the third one was even more shocking, covering 100 meters with a single step was much more terrifying than leaping 100 meters. After all, leaping would take at least a few steps, not to mention the fact that the Killing Tyrant Kick was not only about speed. This leg martial skill manual is mine. Inside the private room, Yang Ming made up his mind. Although he already had a low-rank martial skill manual, it was only a martial skill manual. Both the leg and blade arts were top-rank Mortal Realm martial skills, and of course, they were the best of the best. The starting price is 100,000 gold, each bid must be at least 10,000 gold, start bidding. 120,000 gold. 130,000 gold. 150,000. 180,000. The price of the martial skill kept rising. All the martial artists who didn't belong to any martial institution were stunned. Yang Ming sneered, he raised the wooden sign and shouted, 250,000 gold. Who is in that private room? He just increased the price by 70,000 gold, he is so rich. A martial artist curiously asked. I saw Yang Ming from the Purple Sun Martial School enter that private room before, it should be him. No wonder, among the young generation of the Windy Nation, only a few people could surpass Yang Ming in terms of wealth, such as young Master Emerald, young Master Duanmu, and young Master North Snow. In this auction, there are also disciples who are as famous as Yang Ming. For example, North Snow Fast Blade Lynch is also here. Lynch, it's said that he has the potential to surpass Child North Snow and become the #1 disciple of the North Snow Martial Academy. It's impossible for now, but who knows in the future? Just as everyone was discussing spiritedly, another bid sounded out. 300,000 taels. The voice was slightly deep, and it came from the second private room. Yang Ming remained calm, 350,000 taels. 400,000. 450,000 taels. That person quickly followed. 500,000 taels. To be honest, even Yi Chen was startled by this price. He thought to himself, the voice of the person who followed the bid is very deep, it should be a middle-aged man. A middle-aged man with 500,000 taels of gold, he must be a clasping Yuan realm martial artist. After all, apart from the top martial artists of the Windy Nation, very few condensing reality realm martial artists would be able to bid 500,000 taels of gold. The other person was the young man who was competing with him for half of the sword. He was most likely a core disciple of some big martial institution, and Yi Chen was sure that he had heard of his name before, it was just that he couldn't recognize his voice. 600,000 taels. Yang Ming raised his voice. 700,000 taels. 800,000 taels. 900,000 taels. That person didn't even budge an inch. Hee hee. Yang Ming laughed, his face had a trace of ferociousness, which made Tang Manlu and Li Ling's hair stand on end. They knew that Yang Ming was angry, but that middle-aged man was obviously not a kind person, he was most likely a clasping Yuan realm martial artist. Unless the elders of the Purple Sun Martial School came, they wouldn't be able to do anything to him. Taking a deep breath, Yang Ming roared, 1,200,000 taels. Standing next to Yi Chen, Wu Zongming said with jealousy, this martial institution's disciple is so rich, although I haven't heard his voice, but it's very likely that he is one of the 3 big steps of the younger generation in the Windy Nation. Compared to him, we are so poor, so poor. Do more missions, and save up for a few years, you will also have the same amount of money. A few years later, he will have even more money. Never mind, the most important thing is to improve our cultivation, the money will come sooner or later. Yi Chen didn't say anything, he started to think, the more money he had, the better. In the future, when there was a large-scale auction, he was afraid that even 1 or 2 million taels of gold would not be enough. He seemed to have more than 10,000 low-rank soul stones, but if he really had to exchange them for gold, he would feel a bit sad. 1,300,000 taels. The price continued to rise. Yang Ming gritted his teeth and said, 1,500,000 taels. 1,600,000 taels. That middle-aged man's tone was the same, there was no change in his tone. Damn it. Yang Ming smashed the rosewood table with his palm, his eyes were bloodshot. If it weren't for the fact that he still had to compete for that great blade, he wouldn't be so angry. Now that he had used so much gold, how could he compete with Lynch? After all, Lynch's wealth was not much less than his. 1,800,000 taels. Yang Ming decided to fight again, he hoped that Lynch would back off, otherwise, when he reached the clasping Yuan realm in the future, he would definitely kill this person. A calm voice came, 2 million taels. If I don't kill this person, Yang Ming, will not be satisfied. Veins popped out on his forehead, Yang Ming squeezed out a beast-like roar from his throat. The old man in yellow didn't care about this, he only cared about the price. According to the real value of this martial skill book, it was only about 500,000 taels, it was definitely not more than 100,000 taels. Now that the price had doubled, it was 2 million taels of gold, how could he not be happy? 2 million taels going once, 2 million taels going twice, sold. After the climax, the next part was a bit low-key. The style of the Northwest auction house was different from other places. Normally, it was divided into 3 rounds. The first round was used to liven up the atmosphere and arouse people's emotions. The second round's items were not as valuable as the first round's items, but there were a lot more of them. There were dozens of items, and each of them had different values. The lowest one was no more than 20,000 taels of gold, while the highest one was more than 100,000 taels of gold. All in all, those martial artists who didn't belong to any martial institution were waiting for this moment, they were all bidding in full swing, competing for the items that they wanted. The third round had begun. Different from the previous 2 rounds, the third round's items were all treasures, the starting price was more than 50,000 taels of gold, some of them were even more valuable than the martial skill book. The 68th item, the low-rank great blade, the space-splitting blade. The real climax was about to begin. In the private room, Lin Qi opened his eyes that had been closed all this time. Chapter 90. The elder reached out his hand and picked up the sheathed great saber from the wooden plate, then slowly pulled it out. All of a sudden, a beam of silver light flashed, and the saber chi shot up into the sky, seeming like it could cut people's souls. The huge auction stage was filled with coldness. Good saber. This saber is not just a low-rank great saber anymore, it is close to a mid-rank great saber. Inside the private room, an elder in gray robes said with greed in his eyes. Yi Chen thought of something. The air-shattering saber in the elder's hand did not seem to be as powerful as the tiger head saber he got from the underground world. It had the same saber chi and sharp edge. If he needed money in the future, he could sell it to the auction house. The air-shattering saber, the saber of the Blade Marquis 100 years ago. It is 4 feet and 2 inches long, and its widest part is 2 and 3 inches. The back of the saber is half an inch thick, and the handle is 7 inches long. It can generate saber chi and increase the power of the user. The starting price is 300,000 silvers, and each increment must be no less than 50,000 silvers. You can start now. Putting the great saber back into the sheath, the elder in yellow put the air-shattering saber back on the wooden plate, then looked around. Seeing that everyone was staring at the air-shattering saber, a satisfied smile appeared on his face. 1,000,000 silvers. In the 6th private room, Lynch raised his wooden plate. 1,500,000 silvers. The elder in gray robes followed. Yang Ming was a bit surprised by the bidder, but of course, he would not give up on the air-shattering saber. He yelled, 2,000,000 silvers. Did I hear it right? It has only been 3 bids, and it has already reached 2,000,000 gold. North Snow Quick Blade Lynch and Little Godly Leg Yang Ming both made their bids. I wonder who the other elder is. I know. That elder is called Blade Old Man. He is at the early clasping Yuan realm, and he is quite famous in the martial world. I wonder how many people he has killed with his saber art. Blade Old Man. I remember now. Quick Blade Wu Wanshan used to be his teacher. But for some reason, they parted ways. I did not expect to see him here. Wu Wanshan is probably as powerful as Blade Old Man now. But, North Snow Quick Blade Lynch is even more powerful. He beat Wu Wanshan with only 10 attacks. Don't underestimate Blade Old Man. Haven't you heard that the older ginger is the spicier? This person has been active for decades, so he must have countless trump cards. Lynch's expression remained the same. 3,000,000. Little brat, you have quite a lot of wealth. I'll let you show off for a while, but when we get out of Forgotten City, the air-splitting blade will be mine. The gray-robed old man, Dao So, was reluctant to spend so much gold to bid for the Skysplitter saber. He felt that it was a waste. It would be better to wait for someone else to bid for it, than secretly follow them and kill them to get the treasure. In any case, it was not the first time he had done something like this. With one less competitor, Yang Ming felt much more relaxed. Just like Lynch, he increased the price by 1,000,000 taels, reaching a sky-high price of 4,000,000 taels. 5,000,000. Without even thinking about it, Lynch continued to raise the price, as if the gold he had on him was just a broken stone that wouldn't hurt him no matter how much he threw out. 5,500,000 taels. Yang Ming felt that he had underestimated Lynch. 5,000,000 taels was the highest price he could offer, of which 30% was borrowed from Rushing Thunderhand, Yang Lai. 5,500,000 taels. Lynch had also reached his limit, he only added 50,000 taels of gold. Turning his head, Yang Ming said to the people around him, "Lend me all the gold you have, I'll pay you back 4 times in the future." Li Ling said, "I still have 20,000 taels left from the 2 items I bought earlier. I still have 20,000 taels left. 35,000 taels." After pooling everything, Yang Ming managed to come up with an extra 100,000 taels of gold. He invested all of it and shouted, 5,650,000 taels. Lynch frowned, then he remembered that before he left, Junior Sister May gave him a small bag, and asked him to open it at a critical moment. Taking out the bag and opening it, Lynch showed a rare smile. Although he looked ordinary, his smile was like that of a child, pure and flawless. 5,700,000 taels. Lynch raised the price again. Hearing that, Yang Ming was stunned. Impossible, how can he still have the energy? Tang Manlu and Li Ling looked at each other, they felt that Lynch's price was just like his knife skill, unpredictable and unexpected. In the end, the air-splitting blade fell into Lynch's hand. 5,700,000 taels, this is too much, how can we live? Look, Lynch came out, it seems like he is going to leave. I heard that he came here for the air-splitting blade, it's normal for him to leave, it would be a waste of time if he stayed. Hey, Dao So is following him. Is he going to kill him for the treasure? It's possible, but is he not afraid of the North Snow Martial Academy's revenge? It seems like you don't know Dao so well. He is always reckless, and his whereabouts are uncertain. Maybe he will escape to another country after killing Lynch, and the North Snow Martial Academy might not be able to find him. Some people noticed what happened. They started to discuss with each other in low voices. Lynch's departure did not cause too much of a commotion. The auction continued. Chapter 91. Su Jing's unexpected appearance made Ouyang Ming's face turn green. It seemed like he did not check the almanac when he left the house today. Not only did he not get the air-killing kick manual, he did not get the air-splitting blade, and now, he even lost the limitless heaven and earth art. I don't believe that I can't get the limitless heaven and earth art. Ouyang Ming shouted in his heart and increased the bid to 5 million. Su Jing's voice was flat as she said to her 3 junior sisters in the same private room, "Lend me all your money." "Senior sister, I'll lend it to you." "You can't let Ouyang Ming get the limitless heaven and earth art." The female disciples from the Sky Cloud Martial School were all very beautiful. They each took out a stack of gold notes and gave them to Su Jing. After counting the gold notes, Su Jing raised her head. 6 million. Okay. 6 million. This has broken the record of the previous small auctions. Who else wants to bid? You should know that the limitless heaven and earth art is very rare to see. If you lose this opportunity, it will be very difficult to get it again. The elder in yellow added fuel to the fire on the stage. Unfortunately, no matter how much he talked, no one continued to raise the price. 6 million taels of gold was too high. There were many big clans in Forgotten City, but they did not have the means to transfer so much gold at once. Moreover, the infinite heaven and earth skill was only an auxiliary skill. It could not directly increase one's combat power. Spending 6 million taels of gold to buy it was not worth it. Good steel should be used on the blade. However, Su Jing was different. Although this heaven and earth limitless technique couldn't increase her battle prowess, it would be of great help to her in the future. After breaking through to the next realm, she didn't need to worry about the phenomenon of her true chi being unstable anymore. Imperceptibly, it would shorten the cultivation time needed to advance again. Shaking his head, the elder in yellow knew that 6 million gold was the end of the line. 6 million going once. 6 million going twice. Sold. Congratulations to the lady in room 12. Without him saying anything, someone sent the limitless heaven and earth art to her. What made Tang Manlu and Li Ling feel strange was that the angry Ouyang Ming calmed down. His eyes were deep and cold, but no one knew what he was thinking. There were 3 other treasures left, and all of them were sold at a sky-high price. However, the highest price was only 4,500,000 gold. It could not exceed the price of the air-splitting blade and the limitless heaven and earth art. The auction ended successfully, and everyone left the room. Opening the door, Yichen said, "Let's go." Picking up a grape and throwing it into his mouth, Wu Zongming was in a good mood. He could not wait to go back to the Sky Cloud Martial School and take the Zhenqi pellet. The two walked out of the private room and headed for the exit. "Little brat, so you are a disciple of the Sky Cloud Martial School." At the entrance, there were 5 young men standing there. Tang Manlu and Li Ling were among them, and the other 3 were new faces. The leading young man was wearing a purple and gold robe. He had long legs and was about 1.9 meters tall. Yichen asked indifferently, "What's the matter?" "Nothing much. My senior brother Ouyang wants to invite you to the Fortune Immortal restaurant for a drink. I hope you can give him some face." One of them said sinisterly. "Sorry, I'm busy." Yichen took 2 steps to the side and was about to leave. That man stopped Yichen. "What? You don't even want to give me face? If senior brother Ouyang did not give you that half of the sword, do you think you could have gotten it? On the side, Yangming sneered. He did not want to cause trouble for Yi Chen, he only wanted to know who the female disciples were. After asking around, he found out that there were 4 of them. 3 of them were wearing the inner disciple uniform of the Sky Cloud Martial School, and the last one also had the symbol of the Sky Cloud Martial School on his sleeve. Seeing that Yi Chen was also from the Sky Cloud Martial School, he immediately came up with a plan. Wu Zongming rolled his eyes and said, "You guys did not get any treasures in the auction because you are not capable enough. What does it have to do with us? Do you think we need you to give it to us?" Senior brother Ouyang invited you for a drink because he thinks highly of you. Don't refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. Another Purple Sun Martial School inner disciple said in a deep voice. Yi Chen thought it was Tang Manlu who was causing trouble, but it seemed like it was not the case. He said indifferently, "Move, don't block the way." Just when the two were about to lose their temper, Yangming said, "Among the young generation of the Windy Nation, many people want to invite me for a drink, but it is very difficult. Today, I, Yangming, invite people for a drink. Even if you don't want to go, you have no choice." How arrogant. I would like to see how the godly legs Yangming is going to invite us Sky Cloud Martial School disciples for a drink. Behind Yi Chen and Wu Zongming, Su Jing's voice came. "Senior Sister Su." Yi Chen and Wu Zongming nodded. Su Jing walked in the front, followed by 3 Sky Cloud Martial School female disciples. Yangming squinted his eyes. "Late condensing reality realm, no wonder you are so arrogant. But it is still not enough. Your head senior sister Zhu Mei is qualified to talk to me on equal footing. Senior sister Zhu Mei is not here, only I, Su Jing, am here." Su Jing was not very tall, Yi Chen estimated that she was about 1.7 meters. She was wearing a white dress and had a beautiful body. Her eyebrows were slightly curved, but her aura was not any weaker than Yangming's. There was a kind of unique aggressiveness hidden in her aura. "Who do you think you are? How dare you talk to brother Yangming like that?" The entrance of the Northwest Auction House was very wide, it was about 10 meters wide. The inner disciple of the Purple Sun Martial School, who had just spoken, did not do anything. He pushed out his palm, and his Jinqi formed a huge red ring, covering Su Jing's body. "Piss off." Su Jing took a step forward, and the surrounding space seemed to vibrate, giving people the illusion that they could not stand steadily. Her blood and qi were boiling, and soon after, a thick and dazzling golden light gushed out, instantly shattering the giant red ring and causing the opponent to vomit blood. How could she be so powerful? They are both at the late condensing reality realm, but her opponent could not even withstand a single attack. He is not even qualified to be attacked by Sister Su Jing. Wu Zongmin saw that Su Jing took a step forward and broke her opponent's attack, causing him to puke out blood. He was shocked. Yi Chen was also a bit surprised. Su Jing, who had reached the late condensing reality realm, was even more powerful than he had imagined. The entrance was too eye-catching, the fight between the two attracted a lot of warriors. "Look, it's the Sky Cloud Martial School and the Purple Sun Martial School disciples, they are fighting. Little godly legs Yangming has failed again and again, how could he let it go? He will definitely find trouble with the owner of the Limitless Universe art. Unfortunately, there is no one among these Sky Cloud Martial School disciples who can control the situation." Not necessarily, that Sky Cloud Martial School female disciple just took a step and blew her opponent away. Yangming did not make a move, otherwise it would be hard for her opponent to fight back. Other than the warriors who were attracted by the fight, the people of the Northwest Auction House also noticed the fight. Soon, the elder in yellow pushed through the crowd, walked over and said, "You guys, the Northwest Auction House does not allow fighting, please give us some face, otherwise, it will be hard to explain." Other than being an auctioneer, the elder in yellow was also an early clasping Yuan realm warrior. As he spoke, he sent out a wave of Zhen Qi, forming an invisible Qi wall. Oh, Yang Ming knew that it would be hard to fight here, so he nodded and said with a smile, "Of course not, I just wanted to invite these few people for a drink. Since they are busy, I will not force them. Let's go." After the elder left, Su Jing said to Yi Chen and Wu Zongming, "It is not safe on the road, you guys should come with us." Once the owner left, the others had no reason to stay. Trouble solved, the elder in yellow smiled bitterly. Although martial school disciples were one of the most popular customers of the auction house, they were also the most troublesome ones. Chapter 92. On the northwest plain, 6 riders were running at full speed. "I can't believe that after a year, you have not only become an inner disciple, but also reached the mid-condensing reality realm." Su Jing, who was riding beside Yi Chen, said casually. Yi Chen said, "How can I compare to you, sister? I think even if Yang Ming were to fight you, he would not be able to win. I have no confidence against him. He is after all at the peak of the late condensing reality realm, he has more experience than me. Even Sister Zhu Mei said that he has hidden his strength well, and has the ambition to challenge the 3 young masters. Let's not talk about him, your power should be higher than the mid-condensing reality realm. You are full of qi and blood, full of profound qi, this is a sign of having more than 10,000 pounds of strength." Su Jing could tell that Yi Chen was different at first glance. Yi Chen asked curiously, "How can you tell?" "This is a secret qi and blood circulation technique, it can tell if the opponent's qi and blood is strong or not. Normally, if one has more than 10,000 pounds of profound qi, then one would have more profound qi, and if one has more than 100,000 pounds of profound qi, then one would have more profound qi, which would be like a smoke signal, which would not be able to get close to it. Even without this technique, one could still sense it. There is such a thing. I am indeed ignorant." Yi Chen was shocked. 1,000,000 pounds of strength gathered on a small human body, how terrifying would that be? It would be enough to shatter everything in the world, pull up mountains, and pierce through the earth's crust. Su Jing said, "It is not that you are ignorant, but a lot of people do not know about this. I only read about it from an ancient scroll. It said that 10,000 years ago, there was a martial institution called the Vast Expanse Martial School. Everyone in the school trained their bodies. 10,000 pounds of strength would make you a servant disciple, 30,000 pounds of strength would make you an outer disciple, 50,000 pounds of strength would make you an inner disciple, 80,000 pounds of strength would make you an inner disciple, 200,000 pounds of strength would make you an inner disciple, 300,000 pounds of strength would make you an outer master, and 300,000 pounds of strength would make you an inner master." Wu Zongming and the other female disciples were all fascinated by the story, but they were still doubtful. Is there really someone in this world who could train their strength to more than 500,000 pounds? Where is the Vast Expanse sect? Has it been destroyed? Yi Chen asked. Su Jing nodded, it seems that the heavens did not allow the Vast Expanse school to exist. In a single night, the school was razed to the ground, and someone found a dragon scale in the ruins. It was the size of a wash basin, and could cut through iron like mud. It was incomparably sharp. Rumor has it that a divine dragon descended upon the world and destroyed the entire Vast Expanse school. That dragon scale was left behind after the Vast Expanse school's leader and several great elders fought against the divine dragon. Divine dragon, that's ridiculous. That is the legendary existence that surpasses the life and death realm. They are immortal and can roam the Taishu. A female disciple exclaimed. Su Jing narrowed her eyes, the world is so big that it is not something you can understand. Even those life and death realm warriors could not understand it, let alone us. Yi Chen smiled bitterly. With his strength, he was only a servant disciple in the Vast Expanse sect, not even an outer sect disciple. He really had no idea how the people in the Vast Expanse sect cultivated. Half a day passed by, and it was already noon. The few of them had already flown to the center of the northwest plains. As far as the eye could see, the sky and the plains formed a line. There was no end to it, and the white clouds were getting bigger and bigger until they reached the sky above their heads. There are horse hooves. Yi Chen's ears twitched as he heard the sound. Su Jing nodded. It's earlier than I thought. Wu Zongming felt strange, and asked, Senior sister, you know that someone is looking for trouble with us. Oh, Yangming is inextricably linked to the bandits in the Northwest Plains. He often makes use of them to besiege and kill disciples from the sects that oppose him. This isn't the first time, and it won't be the last. I just don't know which group of bandits came. Damn it, they are actually colluding with the horse bandits of the Northwest Plains. The 3 female disciples were furious. Su Jing looked at the large black dots that were gathering from all directions, and said, What's so strange about it? Everyone has their own way of doing things. Some are cunning and despicable, some are righteous, and some are cruel. There are too many of them. But as long as they have a clear mind and don't have any inner demons, anyone can cultivate to a very high level, and it has nothing to do with their character. What a brilliant idea. Yi Chen thought. Da-da-da-da-da, the continuous horse hooves gradually became louder, and everyone could already see the clothes and faces of the horse bandits in front of them. I said kill them, then you guys break out of here, and I will cover you. Su Jing said with a decisive tone. Senior sister. Cut the crap, there are clasping Yuan realm martial artists among them, we can't fight them. The horses were very fast, and within a few blinks of an eye, they had already arrived in front of everyone. There were more than 50 horse bandits, and 7 or 8 of them had strong Jinqi vibrations. Obviously, they were late condensing reality realm martial artists. The leader had a face full of stubble, and his Jinqi was condensed into a single point, which was extremely pure. He was definitely a clasping Yuan realm martial artist. When the horse bandits were only 30 steps away from them, Su Jing yelled, Break through, kill them. Shoo! As she yelled, Su Jing's body turned into a golden light. Ignoring the distance of 30 steps, she punched 2 late condensing reality realm martial artists in the chest. Yi Chen's speed was not slow at all. He pushed his crane shadow steps to its limit, and his whole body had already disappeared into the air. After that, a late condensing reality realm horse bandit's head exploded, turning into a blood mist. Wu Zongming and the 3 female disciples knew that they were not as powerful as the others, so they gathered together and tried their best to break through to the west. The leader of the horse bandits saw that 3 of his subordinates had died in the blink of an eye. He roared and jumped towards Su Jing. His thick Jinqi had shaved off a layer of the ground, and he moved at lightning speed. Monster-killing fist, shaking the heavens and earth. Su Jing did not back off. Her 2 fists were like a giant devil splitting a mountain, and she faced the leader of the horse bandits head-on. Puff! 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 This time, the surrounding horse bandits suffered greatly. They were all blown away by the shockwave, puking out a huge mouthful of blood in the air. Taking 3 steps back, Su Jing looked calm, but her movements were wild. Her white robe fluttered in the wind as she charged towards the leader of the horse bandits again, throwing out a powerful punch. On the other side, Yi Chen was surrounded by 3 late condensing reality realm horse bandits. Little brat, go to hell. Kill the wolf. Flash spear. Ghost cry and wolf howl. The 3 of them each used their unique attacks. They wanted to kill Yi Chen together. Yi Chen's body blurred, he casually flashed and dodged the attacks of the 3 bandits. In the middle of the attack, Yi Chen's Jinqi increased infinitely, he threw out a punch from the side. Tyrannical rampage. The power of the punch tore the ground apart, it gathered a huge wave of dirt and rushed out. Boom! The ground exploded, the late condensing reality realm horse bandit was blown into pieces, his blood and flesh flying everywhere. This kid is hard to deal with. Archers, get ready. As the order was given, arrows were shot towards Yi Chen like rain, locking down the huge space. Ding! 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 Unfortunately, Yi Chen's body was covered in a jade-like luster. Once the arrows touched him, they were broken into 2 pieces and bounced off. Chapter 93. Clang. Facing the rain of arrows, with a few late condensing reality realm warriors glaring at him, Yi Chen did not dare to take it lightly. He immediately pulled out his hidden cloud sword. The pure Jun Zhen Qi had a great effect on the sword art. Once Yi Chen threw out a sword attack, the snow-white sword light looked like a blooming lotus flower. The sharp light shot out in all directions, slicing the ground around Yi Chen into pieces. At the same time, numerous mountain-like silhouettes appeared within the sword light. They were extremely sharp and powerful. Combining the two together, it looked a bit like the legendary Blade Mountain. Condensed sword chi. Yi Chen swung the sword straight out. The sword light was compressed infinitely and turned into a thick sword chi. Because of its high speed, the air was cut open like water ripples, and the natural yuan qi was disrupted. In the eyes of the crowd, this was not a sword qi at all, it was clearly a mountain. They suddenly felt that it was unstoppable, and their momentum was weakened by 80%. Swoosh! The flat ground was split open, and the horse bandits in the vicinity of this line were either split into 2 halves or crushed into a bloody mist by the aftermath of the sword chi, leaving nothing behind. Then, the sword chi's momentum did not diminish, and it slashed towards the leader of the horse bandits who was suppressing Su Jing. Sword chi. The horse bandit leader sensed the change and looked over. He was shocked. A mid-condensing reality realm warrior could actually release sword chi. Wasn't that something only clasping Yuan realm swordsmen could do? Moreover, this sword chi was not an ordinary sword chi. It contained the mentality of a mountain, which could crush and suppress everything. It was almost at the edge of the sword intent, and was only 1 step away from the supreme sword intent. After exchanging more than 10 moves, Su Jing was gradually suppressed by the horse bandit leader. However, she had also figured out his martial arts patterns. If she was not mistaken, this horse bandit leader should be one of the top horse bandit leaders in the Northwest Plain. His name was Chi Kuei, and he had reached the clasping Yuan realm a few years ago. His moves were very powerful. If she was not strong enough, she might not even be able to take 3 of his punches. After fighting for a while, Su Jing noticed that her opponent's attention had shifted, and she couldn't help but look over as well. In her line of sight, Yi Chen, who was dressed in a white robe, was like a towering mountain. He was clearly right in front of her, but he gave off the illusion that he was far away. This junior brother of mine is really amazing. There is the aura of Tao in his sword technique. As long as he is given time, he will definitely become a peerless swordsman in the future. Laughing out loud, Chi Kuei withdrew his left hand and threw out a punch, while saying, "No matter how talented you are only a mid-condensing reality realm warrior, what can you do to me?" Mountain crashing fist, break. Kacha. The artistic conception in the sword chi was the first to be broken. Then, the sword chi collapsed and disappeared. However, Chi Kuei's body also stiffened. Strands of sword chi flowed up along his arm, wanting to injure his foundation. Only after separating a portion of his true chi could he eliminate the threat of the sword chi. Su Jing understood what Yi Chen meant. He wanted to help her escape. With that thought in mind, all of her Jin chi started to burn like fire. 2 illusory golden flame rings appeared behind her head, 1 big and 1 small. Low-rank Earth Realm Art, Golden 3 Realm Art. Yi Chen could tell that Su Jing had trained a low-rank Earth Realm Art, Golden 3 Realm Art. This art was extremely powerful. The 7th stage was called the Shocking Sky, the 8th stage was called the Extreme Void Sky, and the 9th stage was called the Sky Top Sky. When the 3 stages combined, it could suppress everything and was unstoppable. However, Su Jing had obviously trained it to the 8th stage, the Extreme Void Sky. When the 2 stages combined, her powers suddenly increased. With a single punch, Chi Kuei was forced to take 4 steps back. Open. Not in the mood to fight anymore, Su Jing just charged forward. The burning golden Zhenqi instantly pushed away the people who were in her way. She did not even care about her horse, she flew towards Wu Zongming and the other 3. Yi Chen did not stop her either. He turned around and threw out 13 sword attacks. Streams of mountain-like sword chi flew towards Chi Kuei, who was chasing after him. His feet did not even touch the ground as he flew backwards. With the help of Su Jing and Yi Chen, Wu Zongming and the other 3 finally got out of the encirclement. 4 horses and 2 people, their speed increased to the limit. Like lightning, they gradually disappeared into the distance. Damn this brat! Chi Kuei was furious. He stomped on the ground, causing it to shake continuously. He threw out a series of punches, which turned into countless fist shadows that shattered the mountain-like sword chi. Brother, what do we do now? A leader of the horse gang could not help but ask with red eyes. Chi Kuei calmed down his boiling blood and tried to suppress his unstable emotions. He asked, how many brothers did we lose? 23 in total. Besides me, all the other leaders were killed. 6 late condensing reality realm warriors were all killed. I am so angry. Chi Kuei's eyes were wide open and bloodshot. Although there were only about 50 people in this bandit group, every one of them was a veteran of hundreds of battles, especially those 6 small leaders who had followed him to roam the Northwest Plains for several years. They were the foundation that he relied on. He never thought that they would all die in this battle. For a moment, his heart was bleeding. Brother, I have told you before, don't hang out with Ouyang brother. They are both core disciples of the martial school, they have powerful people behind them. Although they give us a lot of gold and treasures every time, we are risking our lives for them. But they don't even need to do anything, yet they get the biggest share. I know about this. Chi Kuei was indeed the leader of a horse gang. Although he was angry, he still had some calmness in his heart. He said, we have already offended the Sky Cloud Martial School, we cannot have another conflict with the Purple Sun Martial School. Let's avoid contact with Ouyang brother from now on. Right now, let's leave the Northwest Plain and go out to recruit people, hoping to make a comeback. You are right, brother. After fighting their way out of the encirclement, Yi Chen and Wu Zongming rode on one horse, while Su Jing and one of the female disciples rode on the other. Taking out a mysterious green pellet and throwing it to Yi Chen, Su Jing said, the rest of the journey will inevitably be dangerous. This is a mysterious recovering pellet, it can help you recover your lost Jin Qi. Yi Chen had heard about the mysterious recovering pellet before. It cost 3,000 gold for one pellet, and it could recover Jin Qi 10 times faster than usual. It was a necessity for high-level warriors. With just a glance, Yi Chen picked up the pellet and swallowed it. He then started to use his pure Jun Jin Qi to refine the pellet. In his dantian, the almost dried-up Jin Qi whirlpool was helped by the mysterious recovering pellet. Jin Qi continuously poured out, flowing into all the meridians in his body. Before, he first threw out the Tyrant Fist art, then he used the Lone Peak of 13 Swords. He used the poetic perspective of the Lone Peak of 13 Swords to create a sword chi that consumed a lot of Jin Qi. Although it was powerful, it could not last long. It was far weaker than a clasping Yuan Realm warrior, after all, a mid-condensing reality realm warrior was still too low. After 7 days, the group of 6 returned to the Sky Cloud Martial School in the Windy Mountain. The next half a month was no different than before, training, doing missions, and so on. Inadvertently, Yi Chen heard the news brought back by a disciple of the Sky Cloud Martial School who had participated in the auction. The North Snow Fast Blade Lynch had safely returned to the North Snow Martial Academy. It was said that someone had seen the old man in gray, Dao So, in a very bad shape, with one of his arms broken. Chapter 94. The sea of clouds was rolling, the wind was blowing. You really want me to fight you with all my power? On a remote cliff, Su Jing, who was dressed in white, stood there. She was not tall, nor did she have a burly figure. She even looked a little delicate. However, no matter how strong the wind was, it could not shake her in the slightest. She was like a statue that had not fallen for thousands of years. Yi Chen nodded. I have trained a martial art, and it needs a lot of pressure to improve. So I want to use your help to train. What he was talking about was the pure jade body boosting spell. He had trained this martial art to the peak of the 3rd level a long time ago, but he had not been able to break through to the 4th level. He had been thinking about it these days, and realized that it would be very difficult for him to reach the 4th level by himself. Only by using other people's power to stimulate his own potential could he achieve it in a short period of time. If that is the case, then I will not hold back. Su Jing could tell that Yi Chen was serious. Although she was curious about what kind of martial art he had trained, she was not a talkative person. She would not ask what she should not ask. Cross the sea to kill the devil. Su Jing took a step forward with her right foot. All the rocks within a few meters radius floated into the air. She did not seem to be very fast, but she had already arrived in front of Yi Chen. She threw out a punch with a strong golden light. Yi Chen could feel the explosive power contained in this punch. He did not dare to waste any time. He pushed the pure jade body boosting spell with all his power. A layer of jade-like luster appeared on his skin. His body shook, and his Jin Qi was pushed to the limit. He threw out a punch as well. Chin. The two fists collided, and a strong shockwave spread out. A few huge black cracks appeared on the ground like snakes, spreading everywhere. So it really is more than 10,000 pounds of power. Because Yi Chen did not use any martial arts, his arm was numb, and his vision blurred. He almost fainted. Su Jing did not intend to hold back. She missed the first punch, but the second one followed. Destroy the mountain and flip the sea. That intense golden light, along with the sound of a tsunami, attacked towards Yi Chen's temple from the left side. The fist power hadn't arrived yet, but the fist wind had already arrived. It was like a lightning bolt and was as heavy as a mountain. Bang! Yi Chen stretched out his hand to block the punch. His left fist drilled out from his waist and began to counterattack. Alright, I'm going to use the power of the 7th level of the Golden Three Realms art. After repelling Yi Chen's fist energy with a single punch, an illusory golden ring of fire appeared behind Su Jing's head. Her entire body was burning with golden Jin Qi. Combined with her strength of over 10,000 jin, she would be able to kill anyone who stood in her way. Yi Chen did not retreat nor evade. He laughed loudly and said, "Senior sister, go ahead and make your move." A cold glint flickered in Su Jing's eyes. With a twist of her feet, the surface of the cliff cracked. Soon after, her two fists, one on the left and one on the right, struck out, using the move she used to deal with Qi Kuei. Kachak. The jade-like luster on the surface of Yi Chen's body collapsed and was annihilated. His tall and straight body that was as steady as a mountain took 10 steps back, and every step he took was extremely heavy and emitted thumping sounds. Alright, again. Activating the pure jade body boosting spell, again, Yi Chen didn't care about the taste of blood in his throat. He rushed towards Su Jing. Back off. This fight was to help Yi Chen break through. There was no need for any fancy moves, only a solid head-on collision. Therefore, Su Jing threw out another punch, which once again made Yi Chen take 10 steps back. Again. Boom. Again. Towards the end, Yi Chen's 7 orifices began to bleed. The jade-like luster on the surface of his body became dim and looked like it would disappear at any time. However, the more it was like this, the more intense Yi Chen's fighting spirit became. His whole body was filled with profound qi, and even the mountain wind could not extinguish it. His tall and straight body was unyielding, as straight as a javelin, extremely sharp. It was like a piece of rough metal. After being polished thousands of times, it burst out with a sharpness that could pierce through gold and stone. Su Jing was shocked. What kind of martial art did Yichen train? Without using any martial skills, he could take more than 10 punches from her without falling down. Instead, it seemed like he was going to be reborn. Besides that, his fighting spirit really did look like a peerless swordsman. Knowing that it was not enough, the golden Jin Qi around Su Jing's body grew even stronger, and a bigger halo appeared behind her head. It was the sign of the 8th stage of the Golden Three-Realm Art, the Extreme Taiji. With a punch, the mountain wind stopped, and the air was still. Only the cliff could not handle the power, and started to shake. Demon's Fall. Although the monster-killing fist art was a top-rank mortal realm martial skill, the power of the last movement was already extremely close to a low-rank earth realm martial skill. However, it was also quite troublesome to perform. Yichen had to push his Golden Three-Realm Art to the 8th stage before he could use it. Otherwise, he would have to bear the huge counterforce and get slightly injured. It was similar to Yichen's Tyrant Fist art, but not as crazy. The golden light was like a waterfall, with a power that could pierce through a mountain. It flew towards Yichen. Pooh! The jade-like luster could not even last for a second, and was instantly destroyed. Yichen could only feel that the clouds on both sides were moving forward quickly. He felt something sweet in his throat, and a huge amount of blood spurted out, turning into a blood mist. The fast-moving clouds stopped moving, and Yichen's whole body was sunk into the mountain behind him. He could not even move a finger, and he felt weak and dizzy. With a bitter smile, Yichen said weakly, "Senior sister, are you trying to kill me?" Stubborn diseases need strong medicine to cure them. It will save you a lot of trouble. Walking in front of Yichen, Su Jing opened Yichen's jaw, and threw a dark red pellet into his mouth. She said, "This is the body refining pellet that I usually use to train my strength. It is very effective. You don't need to move for now, in case you hurt your muscles and bones, and leave behind future problems." Yichen did not hear the last few words. Once the body refining pellet entered his throat, it turned into liquid and flowed down. With his stomach as the center, the medicinal power gradually spread to his internal organs, all the meridians in his body, and finally into his bones, continuously forcing out the impurities. Black impurities oozed out from the surface of Yichen's body, and the stench was overwhelming. Not knowing how long had passed, Yichen slowly opened his eyes. His bright eyes were like cold lightning, and also like the light of a sword, sharp and penetrating. "So smelly. Let's go back and wash up." She pressed her white and slim palm on the mountain and pushed out her hidden power, shaking Yichen out. Smelling himself, it was indeed smelly. Yichen said embarrassedly, "Thank you for your help, senior sister. If you need anything in the future, Yichen will definitely not decline. Let's go, you want to kill me with the stench." Su Jing said expressionlessly. A week had passed. That night, Yichen sat on his bed with his legs crossed, continuously practicing the pure jade body boosting spell. The jade-like luster on the surface of his body was flickering, sometimes it was bright, sometimes it was like his whole body was made of jade, sometimes it was dim, like a rock. Pa! A light, almost inaudible sound was heard as the jade-like luster shattered inch by inch, merging back into Yichen's body. Then, he spat it out, giving off a cold white light. It looked countless times tougher than before, giving off a diamond-like feeling. At this moment, the fourth spell of the pure jade body boosting spell, Broken Jade Rebirth, was completed. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.